Frankly, Canada should be the 51st state, okay? It really should.
Days after saying trade negotiations between the two countries have ended.
Become 51, become the 51st state.
Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state.
As you probably know, I say you can always become a state.
Imagine waking up to the President of the United States declaring, Canada should become the 51st state. Do it and you get missile protection for free. Yes, that actually happened. And today, we break down the shocking escalation, the political pressure, the economic warfare, and the global consequences behind Donald Trump's explosive comments at Quantico. Comments that blindsided diplomats, rattled defense officials, and sent shockwaves across the entire U.S.-Canada relationship. Stay with me because this story goes much deeper than one outrageous soundbite. This is about power, pressure, and a strategy that could reshape North America. It all began when Trump walked on stage at Quantico, in front of hundreds of top American military officials flown in from every corner of the world. The speech was supposed to be about one thing: the launch of his Golden Dome missile defense system, a massive new shield modeled after Israel's Iron Dome. But in true Trump fashion, he detonated a political bomb. He claimed that Canada had asked to join the Golden Dome program, and he responded with an offer no Canadian Prime Minister could ever accept. Become the 51st state and you get it for free. For free, the room stayed silent. Military officers are trained not to react, but the world outside not so quiet. That single sentence instantly made headlines across the globe. Diplomats scrambled. Ottawa went into crisis communications mode, and analysts immediately recognized what this was: a calculated escalation. Now let's put this into context. The Golden Dome system has been under discussion for months. Originally, Trump told Canada they could join, but it would cost $61 billion US. Then he raised the price to $71 billion. That alone was controversial. But now, he's linking participation to statehood. This is not a negotiation tactic. This is leverage. Trump knows Canada cannot and will not become a U.S. state. But by attaching a massive security program to an impossible demand, he creates political tension. He creates headlines. And he uses that tension to push for something else: economic concessions. The pressure didn't stop with defense. Trump immediately pivoted to Canada's economy, and this is where the real strategy appears. He said, Canadian auto plants are closing. Investment is leaving Canada. U.S. tariffs are forcing manufacturing back to America, and Canada's competitiveness is collapsing. None of this was said by accident, because over the last year, Trump has been tightening the screws. 35% tariffs on goods not compliant with CUSMA. Heavy duties on steel, aluminum, copper, and autos. And coming this October, 10% tariff on softwood lumber, 25% tariff on cabinets, vanities, and wood furniture, higher anti-dumping duties on lumber. Every one of these sectors is critical to Canada's economy. And every tariff increases pressure on Ottawa. Analysts call this a coordinated strategy, a dual-front squeeze. Defense pressure plus economic pressure equals political leverage. Trump is using tariffs to weaken Canada's negotiating position and using missile defense to raise the stakes. Prime Minister Mark Carney has rejected Trump's statehood talk outright. Canada will remain independent, full stop. He has also worked to cool tensions, pausing the digital services tax, lifting retaliatory tariffs trying to align with CUSMA rules, and pushing for smoother trade negotiations. But despite these moves, the U.S. has not rolled back a single tariff. Not one. Private discussions between Carney and Trump have happened behind closed doors, but nothing has changed publicly. Canada continues to face billions in economic hits. Industries are now reviewing supply chains, analyzing operational losses, and preparing for long-term damage. The message from Washington is unmistakable: do what we want or pay the price. And the Golden Dome offer was the loudest signal yet. Let's break down the strategic logic behind Trump's escalation. 1. Reassert U.S. dominance over North American defense by linking missile defense to political integration. Trump positions the U.S. as the protector and Canada as a dependent partner. 2. Force Canada to bend on trade tariffs, pressure industries. Industries pressure Ottawa. Ottawa looks for relief. Trump uses that vulnerability. 3. Shift investment into the U.S. Trump openly said his tariffs are pulling auto plants out of Canada. He wants more of that. 4. Appeal to his domestic base. A tough stance on Canada, especially tied to defense, plays well with his America First messaging. 5. Test Canada's political weakness. With Canada already facing tariff shocks, Trump is testing how far he can push. The question now is, does Ottawa have a strategy to counter this? Because Trump clearly does. Canadian officials have not released any new details about defense negotiations. No updates on tariffs. No long-term plan to soften the economic blow. But behind the scenes, here's what analysts believe Canada must prepare for. More tariffs, more pressure to comply with U.S. industrial rules. More defense demands tied to political concessions. More rhetoric targeting Canada's sovereignty. And with Trump now openly tying missile defense to statehood, the relationship has shifted into a new phase. The era of polite diplomacy is over. The era of power politics has begun. Trump's words weren't a joke. They weren't off the cuff. They were intentional, strategic, and part of a much larger pattern. He is rebuilding American military power. He is reshaping North American trade. And he is using both to pressure Canada like never before. But Canadians have a choice: bend under the weight or push back with our own economic strategy, alliances, and resolve. This is not just a trade dispute. This is a defining moment for Canadian sovereignty. If you want daily breakdowns of U.S.-Canada politics, trade tension updates, and deep analytical coverage that cuts through the noise, make sure you subscribe to Red Leaf Politics. Because the next chapter of this story is coming fast and you don't want to miss what happens next. Thanks for watching. Stay informed, stay sharp. This is Red Leaf Politics, and I'll see you in the next one.